So Congressman Rogers has already told you a little bit about our next guest, who we are lucky has been with us, I think, every time since she's been co-chair of ARC, except for one. Of course, she is from West Virginia, and we're so thankful to have her with us tonight. I'd like to welcome Ms. Gayle Manchin to the stage. She's the ARC co-chair.
Well, hello. I might be wrong, but I think this is a good day to be from Eastern Kentucky. You know, so much of what has been said this morning reflects on so many different aspects of not only ARC at a federal level as a partner with our state leaders and our local communities, and how important that partnership is, and how wonderful it is when all three are connecting and working together. And so we have highway projects and broadband projects, which takes me back to 1960 when John F. Kennedy came to West Virginia to campaign for president. And he was appalled by what he saw in these Appalachian mountains. There were no roads. He said, how can a state thrive without a highway system? And so one of the things he promised, that if he were elected president, he would create a commission that would make sure that a highway system got built through the Appalachian Mountains. And he did that. Now, unfortunately, due to his assassination, it was President LBJ that actually signed the ARC, the Appalachian Regional Commission, into law as part of his war on poverty. But it happened. And so, I'm sorry. It's not my time, it's not up. And so, but what we realized from that, and at ARC, the highway project throughout the Appalachian region is about 91% finished. It's not an easy job. You all know that. But it's coming, and it continues to thrive and to grow. And with some of the announcements made today, 4-lane highway, states have to have 4-lane highways to grow and survive and to thrive. And so that's happening. And then we find out that we have a whole new highway system that has to be taken through the Appalachian Mountains, the broadband highway. And we found that was another huge challenge, and yet that is being tackled. Again, federal agencies working together to support states working together to support local communities that understand the challenges and are working toward those solutions. And so it is about our roads, it is about broadband, about our schools, about training and workforce development, but at the end of the day, it is about people. All of these projects, all of these checks are about people. Changing lives, improving quality of life, improving health within a family, improving the living standards within families, bringing forth hope that families can continue to live in the homes that their families lived in, on the land that their families lived in. And so all of us in this room today, each and every one of you are a part of what is making those good things happen. And I hope that each of you leave today totally realizing that it is individual people. You are changing lives every day with the work that you do. Whether it's laying a road, building broadband, educating children, opening a business, it is about the individual lives that you are now changing for the better every day. And people like our Congressman Hal Rogers in his vision, and with Governor Steve Beshear at that time, understanding that we don't do it alone. We do nothing alone. We do it by coming and working together, putting aside whatever differences there may be. It's not about R's and D's or Eastern Kentucky or Western Kentucky or West Virginia and Kentucky. It's about how do we do it better together. And so as SOAR came into being, that helped start building. And so 10 years later, you saw so much of that, what has accumulated, what is starting to happen, what is starting to build. ARC was created around creating parity, that this highway system through the mountains would help create parity, would give the people that live in the Appalachian Mountains the same opportunities that anyone else had. But we know that parity is not just about surviving. Parity is not even about thriving. Governor Beshear, Andy Beshear, this time mentioned, it's about competing. When all of us can compete, not only within our region, not only within our country, when we can compete globally, then we know we have reached parity. And as Congressman Rogers knows, it doesn't happen overnight, but you start laying that groundwork. You build the foundation. You bring more people together, working, understanding the challenges, listening to the communities and what they're facing, that they bring people together to work out the solutions, because it is about planning, having the plan. And so today we have much to celebrate. All the good things that are happening, that are coming forth, that these opportunities that are being created for us. And so we celebrate, and yet we have to look in that rearview mirror and we remember that it was not that long ago that Kentucky was devastated with the flood. And today we sympathize, empathize, and reach out to North Carolina. And not only North Carolina, certainly North Carolina has been the most devastated with Hurricane Helene, but actually 7 of our 13 Appalachian states has been affected. And we have to assume, I believe, that we're not talking about events now that are going to happen every 100 years. We're talking about events that we don't know. Is it going to happen every year? Every other year? Certainly, I think we know that it's probably going to be sooner than 100 years. And so there is no better time for, again, region to come together and work toward thinking about this plan. Kentucky is such a model for how you deal. When you think about how do we rethink our housing, making it affordable, but also permanent, that we won't lose it in the next flood. Kentucky to reach out and work with North Carolina and the other states, all of our states, to think about, again, a plan building resiliency into our projects, building a sustainability into our projects, so that we know that we are building a better groundwork, foundation, structure, resiliency, just as the resiliency that we have in our people, character of our people. We have to make sure that those things that we build now exhibit those same strong characteristics of resiliency, that it will hold, that we know that we are building to face whatever elements, whatever storms are able to get into our mountains. We always thought the mountains were our protector. We didn't have to worry about these storms. Florida worried about the storm. We didn't have to. And now we know that we are also vulnerable, but we are also strong, and we help one another. And so one of the things that I encourage you to do, as I've mentioned, is reach out. Let's work together as a region to say, what can we do better in our communities to strengthen whatever we build? Can we build it better? Can we do the research? Can we reach out to companies doing the research to find affordable housing, but housing that will withstand and endure through these horrific conditions that we seem to have? We were fortunate to be in Pittsburgh, yesterday morning, but day before yesterday, we made our Power Announcement Awards for this year. And certainly, as Congressman again mentioned earlier, Kentucky, as it always does, did very well in our Power Announcement for our coal-impacted communities. And again, I take it back. When we say coal-impacted communities, we mean people. People that lose jobs, lose their homes, lose their hope. And our communities lose their hope. And so these Power Awards were specifically created through ARC to offer communities the opportunities to, again, look forward. What are other diversifications that we can do within our communities to use what we still have? The energy that came out of these Appalachian Mountains built this country. It turned the lights on, and it kept the lights on. And it built the, and it provided the soldiers, the veterans that went to wars out of the Appalachian region, per capita, are the highest in the nation. So the Appalachian region has done everything that it has been asked to do throughout history. And yet at the end of the day, there were many, many people that felt they had totally been forgotten and left behind. The projects that you heard about today, the work that goes on at many of our federal agencies and our state agencies are turning that around. The Appalachian region has not been forgotten, but it is still needed. The Appalachian region will still be a key element to keeping this country energy independent and strong and able to help our allies. And so don't ever forget that. When I speak to high school graduations, I talk to students about don't ever hang your head about where you're from, because you come from a heritage of strong people that withstood elements and all kinds of conditions to survive, to thrive, and to compete. And so we continue that journey today, and we look to our younger generation, that next group that will come in, step up, and continue this great work, because we know that these things do not happen overnight. They do take time, but they are so important. And so one of the things that I want to mention with the grants that are being given out, so our power grants have been awarded. We awarded the largest amount of money this year in power grants that ARC has done, over $68 million to 65 projects throughout the Appalachian region. As was mentioned, 11 of those projects are right here in Kentucky, $12 million, 11 projects here in Kentucky. Again, throughout our region, touching communities throughout. And then we have our Inspire grants. Heard today about our opioid epidemic and the devastation that it has brought across Appalachia. Every family has been affected, either as a family member, a friend, a colleague, a neighbor, a relative, has been touched by this horrible addiction and affliction. And so our Inspire grants go out to groups that we sort of have an ecosystem in place with our Inspire grants, that it is about rehabilitation, but that it is also about workforce training, job placement, security for housing, childcare, all those elements that are needed to help that individual come back and restore their life, restore their sense of hope and purpose again, so that they become an asset in their family and in their community rather than being the liability. And so our Inspire grants continue to grow as well. And then we have our Arise grants, where we ask states to work together. Let's think about our region. If we strengthen our region, all 13 states are going to do well. If we strengthen our region, we grow the impact of when we encourage industry to come into our area, that we can say to them, you are marketing to 423 counties. You are marketing to 26 million people. That makes an impact. And that's the market of the Appalachian region. And so we will continue to get stronger and to grow. And we will do it because we are all working together, set by the example of SOAR. How much more we can accomplish together than we can individually. But I also want to talk about a fairly new initiative that I think all of you in this room would be very interested in, and that is our Ready Appalachia grants. And that is about community capacity building. You know, it doesn't matter how much money we have in a project or how much support we are getting from outside, if we don't have capacity within our communities, if we don't have the knowledge and the people to write grants, to help strategize, to help plan. You know, many of our communities do not have the money to have program planners and grant writers and developers. And so our community capacity building ready grants are now offering funding not only for training, but for what you might need in order to build capacity within your community. Is it to be able to hire more people? Is it to be able to have more technology in your community to serve your community and your region better? So I will tell you that letters of intent are due the 1st of November, fairly short time span. but just a letter of intent to ARC that you're interested in a ready grant for community capacity building, and then the grants themselves are due February the 14th, Valentine's Day. So I encourage you all to go back and think within your community, your county, your region, where you might be able to use this type of community capacity building money to support growing capacity, growing the ability to work together, not only to better utilize the grants that you have and that you are receiving, but to strive to build on that for greater grants, for greater building, for energizing your communities, your schools, your nonprofits, your foundations, all of these that work together to make us stronger and better. And so I am excited about the training, the technical assistance that ARC is able to offer across the Appalachian region. We have money available, actually up to $500,000 for these community capacity grants. So I hope that you will certainly take this information back to your communities, telling them to offer them this opportunity. It's always a treat for me to be here. I am from West Virginia, southern West Virginia. And I've always said, if you lifted the boundary between southern West Virginia and eastern Kentucky, you would not have a clue where to put that boundary back down. We share the same topography, culture, history, people, character. I was laughing, someone said last night, if someone breaks down in eastern Kentucky, there's probably a fight's going to break out of people who's going to help you first. Whose home are you going to have something to eat? And I said, well, no different in southern West Virginia. And of course, that always takes me back to Senator McConnell when I was first appointed but had not been confirmed yet. He asked for a personal meeting, and he said, you know that West Virginia may be the only state that's totally within the Appalachian region, but Kentucky is the heart of Appalachia. And I said, agreed, Senator. Understand that West Virginia is the soul of Appalachia. And working together with heart and soul, there's nothing that we can't do. And so that's what I say to you today. So I am so proud to be here, happy to be here, to share with you the wonderful things that I see happening, the opportunities that we have. And I will tell you, these opportunities won't be here forever. The funding that we have available now that is being accessed will not always be here. So we're responsible and we're accountable that we take these opportunities and make the very best things happen that we can possibly, that we can look back and say, look what we did. Look what we were able to accomplish. None of us wants to look back and think, should have, could have. We're not those people. We will move forward. We will get the biggest bang for our buck with the opportunities that we have, and we will continue to build hope in people. People. For every project that came forth today, think of the people that will be affected. And what a wonderful part that you play. So look around. The people you have been with the last couple of days at this conference, don't lose your connection with them. Stay connected. Continue to work together. Pat each other on the back. Celebrate the great work that is going on. And remember that as partners, both at the federal, state, and local level, there is nothing that we can't accomplish by doing it together. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the great region of the Appalachian Mountains. Thank you.